places on this earth not meant to be conquered, but rather for each of us to bow in reverence. Welcome to the journey of exploring one of the most mysterious and sacred places on the planet, called Mount Kailash, hidden deep in the remote wilderness of western Tibet, at an altitude of 6,638 meters above sea level. Kailash is not merely a giant, cold block of stone amidst the snow, but is known as the Great Keeper of Secrets. Silent for thousands of years, yet this mountain has never for a second stopped speaking to those who truly know how to listen. In ancient Sanskrit, the mountain is named Kailasa, meaning crystal, representing purity, transparency, and coldness that pierces through the soul. The Tibetans call it by the affectionate name Gang Rinpoche, which means the precious jewel of the vast white snow-covered lands. What is it about this mountain that attracts both the scientific world and millions of spiritual followers worldwide to this place? Though the journey requires many days, crossing rocky deserts and harsh snowstorms to reach this land filled with profound mysteries. The answer lies in a rare, miraculous truth that Kailash is the only place on the planet worshipped by 4 major religions. Hinduism believes this is the eternal abode of Lord Shiva, the supreme deity of both total destruction and divine rebirth. Buddhism regards this as the cosmic center, the legendary Mount Meru, where the Buddha resides amidst vast and infinite space. Ancient Jainism and Bon religions consider this the gateway leading directly to liberation, where souls shed all of their karmic burdens. But all of that is merely the tip of the iceberg among a series of mysteries that still remain without any answers. Because when modern scientists brought measuring equipment here, they discovered things that cannot be explained by any known geology. The 4 faces of Kailash point exactly toward the 4 cardinal directions with almost 0 deviation, a truly astonishing coincidence. A coincidence whose probability, occurring in nature, is almost unthinkable, forcing the scientific community to raise many deep questions. Is this a masterpiece of nature or the handiwork of an ancient civilization that we humans have never known about before? Dubbed the axis of the world, the connection between heaven and earth, Kailash does not only challenge geography or even physics, it challenges the very limits of what we think we clearly understand about the natural world, which is full of mysteries. And the journey to decode these secrets begins right now, because the first mystery is perhaps the strangest thing in the world. It relates to something that we think we can control every single day, and that thing is the flow of time. Time, something we often think is constant, seems to be distorted right at the foot of this very mysterious mountain. But before diving deep into that secret, let us look at the unique shape of Mount Kailash itself in more detail. A group of Russian scientists, after years of studying satellite images, has published a hypothesis that is incredibly shocking. They believe that Kailash is not a natural mountain, but a giant man-made pyramid which is completely hollow inside. A structure built or shaped by some mysterious hand from thousands of years ago, using technologies we have yet to understand. Surrounding the main peak are more than 100 smaller pyramid structures, arranged in an order that nature cannot create. The 4 faces of the mountain point exactly toward the 4 cardinal directions, with almost 0 deviation, an unthinkable figure. This level of precision even far exceeds that of the Great Pyramid of Giza, built by the ancient Egyptians long ago. If this is truly a man-made structure, then what civilization built it and where have they disappeared to in history? But the structure of the mountain is not the only mystery. There are still phenomena challenging all known laws of physics. Pilgrims and explorers have recorded that time at the foot of Kailash seems to flow much faster than the outside world. Human hair and nails can grow as much as they would in 2 weeks within just 12 short hours spent there. Physicist Nikolai Kozyrev hypothesized the existence of a chronal field, a strange and invisible form of energy surrounding the mountain. He believed that the unique geological structure of Kailash is the source of energy that has the power to change time. If this is true, then Kailash not only challenges geography, but it is also challenging the famous theories of Albert Einstein. Kailash has long been called the axis of the world, a sacred connection point between heaven and earth for all humanity. These things may sound mystical until we start looking at the mathematical numbers, which are absolutely astonishing to anyone. Kailash is 6,666 kilometers from Stonehenge, and exactly the same distance from the North Pole. Meanwhile, the distance to the South Pole is exactly double that number, a coincidence that exceeds all natural logic. Mathematicians have calculated that the probability of these numbers occurring randomly in nature is almost zero in reality. Kailash does not just stand at a point on the map, it is located at a position chosen with a purpose. Why did they make this mountain so sacred that not a single climber has ever been able to reach the peak? The answer perhaps lies within the very nature of this mountain, which stands tall at 6,000 meters. Kailash is nearly 2,000 meters shorter than Everest, so technically it is not an impossible challenge to climb. Yet not a single human being has ever set foot on its peak, despite many attempts throughout history. It is not for a lack of brave people, but because the whole world has chosen not to do so. Authorities strictly forbid all climbing activities here, but laws are only the outer layer of a much deeper truth. What truly holds humans back is a profound reverence for a place believed to belong to the divine world. For billions of followers from India to Tibet, Kailash is not just a landmark, but the home of gods. Hinduism believes that Lord Shiva, the god of destruction and rebirth, is meditating on this peak right now. Buddhism calls this Mount Meru, the center of the entire universe from which all of reality originates and flows. Ancient Jain and Bon religions view this as the only sacred gateway, leading souls to the realm of ultimate liberation. Legends say the mountain is not passive. Those intending to conquer it will face sudden blizzards and broken compasses. Some even say the peak itself seems to shift out of sight, appearing and disappearing like a mystical illusion. Science calls these visual hallucinations caused by high altitude, but those who experience them describe something far different. And then during every sunset, the mountain signs its own name in a way that truly leaves people in awe. As the sun sets low, shadows of natural rock grooves converge to form a giant and sharp swastika symbol. This sacred symbol, appearing for thousands of years, happens every day at the right time without any human hand. Furthermore, the snow on the peak often forms the shape of the Om character, the primal sound of the universe. Is this a coincidence, or is the mountain speaking to us in a language that only the quiet can hear? But Kailash hides secrets beyond its cliffs. Deep underground and in lakes, there are ancient relics waiting to be revealed. The mystery of Kailash does not stop at the cliffs. It flows down into the water surrounding the mountain. Lying side by side at the foot of Kailash are two lakes, yet nowhere else on earth are they so different. Lake Manasarovar means lake of the mind in Sanskrit, with fresh water as blue as jade and clear to the bottom. Scientists have recorded high electromagnetic energy here, while pilgrims believe the water can wash away all of their past karma. Nearby lies Lake Rakshastal, known as the Lake of the Demon King, with dark, salty water and an unusually cold temperature. No birds land here, no pilgrims dare to touch the water, and aquatic life is almost entirely absent from this place. Light and darkness, life and eternal silence standing between these two lakes, you are standing between two very different worlds. But the strangeness is not just in the water. Let us look up at the cliffs to see more incredible mysteries. Geologists observing the surface of Kailash discovered giant concave stone slabs, shaped exactly like parabolic mirrors meant to amplify energy. Could nature create such perfect parabolic mirrors? The probability of this happening naturally is almost impossible for us to believe. Alongside these are vertical parallel grooves, carved deep into the cliffs as if made by some giant unknown ancient tool. Natural geology does not create such perfect symmetry, so the question remains, who could have done this so long ago? If the cliffs at ground level are mysterious enough, then look higher at the thousands of caves carved above. Near Kailash, on vertical cliffs with no path, exist over 10,000 man-made caves carved by human hands long ago. Inside, archaeologists found mysteriously preserved mummies, ancient murals, and items that do not belong to any known culture. Nearby lie the ruins of Tsaparang, the ghost city of the once powerful Guge kingdom, which has now completely vanished. Hundreds of remains were found in normal positions, as if the entire kingdom was living, then suddenly everything just stopped. There are no signs of conflict or explanation. They did not leave, they simply were no longer there anymore. An entire kingdom vanished in absolute silence, leaving behind only questions that remain unanswered by modern history and science. But perhaps the answers are not in these caves, but lie much deeper within secret files and unacknowledged expeditions. This is where history begins to have thought-provoking gaps, leading us into the dark and mysterious shadows of the past. In 1939, when the world stood at the doorstep of a brutal war, unconfirmed reports emerged about two superpowers. Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, two bitter enemies, were both drawn to the same mysterious mountain in that same year. According to documents not yet fully declassified, a Soviet team of 12 people was sent, but only 5 ever returned. Their equipment completely stopped working when they entered an area they recorded as the Black Point, where all signals simply vanished. Compasses spun wildly, cameras failed to capture images, and radio waves disappeared as if they had never existed there at all. There was no explanation for the other 7 people, no records and no names found in any of the official documents. Many modern historians consider this an urban legend. Yet the question remains, why did 2 superpowers seek out this remote mountain? The mysteries of Kailash do not only come from the past, they are still happening right now in the present day. For decades, explorers and monks have reported glowing objects, moving at speeds and angles that do not belong to human technology. Those who believe in the mystical point to an ancient theory that Kailash is the gateway to the legendary city of Shambhala, a city hidden deep underground or in another dimension, where enlightened beings live and preserve the ancient knowledge of all humanity. Science has not confirmed this yet, but it has not fully rejected it either, because with Kailash, every answer brings questions. Perhaps that is the most important message that this sacred mountain wants to send to all of us in this modern world. The question that Kailash poses to us is perhaps not whether this mystery has an answer or not, but rather the question is whether we are truly ready to listen to what the mountain has to say. Closing this journey, we realize that Kailash is not merely a geographic peak, but something far more sacred. It is a place where time allows itself to flow according to its own rhythm, away from human control. A place where invisible energy fields force modern technology to remain silent and bow down in deep respect. A place where gaps in history like the stories of the expeditions in 1939 still remain today, silently reminding us that no matter how far we go, there is still much we do not understand. To this very day, Mount Kailash still maintains its absolute purity and remains untouched by any human footsteps. No footprints are found on the peak, and no flags of conquest have ever been planted upon its summit. And perhaps that is the greatest beauty of this mountain, preserving its sacredness for all of eternity. Legendary mountaineer Reinhold Messner, who conquered all 14 of the world's highest peaks, when asked about Mount Kailash. He remained silent for a moment and said, "If we conquer this mountain, we will lose something very deep, something that resides within the very soul of humanity, that we can never truly replace with anything else." Kailash still stands there, as it has for millions of years, silent and majestic in its eternal solitude. It does not need to be conquered to prove its greatness, to the world or to any human being. The mountain does not wait for us to understand it. It simply stands there and lets us wonder. Thank you for joining us on this journey, a path that has no end because the mysteries continue. Because with Kailash, every answer opens a new door, leading to deeper, broader, and much more beautiful questions. Let Kailash forever be a symbol of what humans should not touch with hands, but only with the heart. Gang Rinpoche, the precious jewel of the snow, is still there, waiting, listening, and keeping its secrets forever.